So that's it. This is Nigeria right now. Action.
Dixon.
The plan is on still.
Has to be.
I'm seeing it here. Anambra Chawa. Please, sir, the hot seat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Nigeria right now. Our guest is a delight on the show anytime, any day. Mr. Valentine Ozigbo is our guest. Of course, I caught him working, doing what he's planning for his people, Anambra State, and that's why we came this way to engage him. Your Excellency, how's it going? How's Nigeria treating you?
Remember the last time we had this conversation? That was exact, the beginning of our talk.
That's what we opened the show with, because it's called Nigeria right now.
Well, I'm thankful to God that we are surviving, we are thriving, and we are hopeful of a better future. Nigeria isn't where we need to be. I usually have mixed feeling when I'm talking about this, because on one hand, one has to stay positive, but on the other hand, we have a lot of things that really get you burdened and worried. The hunger is thrive, the challenges that our people are facing, and we'll touch on this.
Yes,
so basically, I am comfortable.
Of course, you have to be comfortable. You are comfortable, no doubt. Yeah, because most of the time when they call for let's fix Nigeria, it's not necessarily about the likes of you. It's about those who possibly cannot afford to feed. And that's what you are about, I believe.
The comfort really is in the fact that there's hope for a better future.
Yeah.
Not that with what is going on, really can be comfortable. The reality is that when you receive those calls, when you witness those mayhems, when you see the killings happening in the land, when you honestly can be comfortable. But you have to be strong to be able to pull out the weak.
Yeah.
And that's why.
I agree with that. I think I should just shoot straight to Anambra, because recently there were some developments in Anambra that got me personally worried, especially as regards insecurity.
Yeah.
And I don't know what your reaction is, because that's not the Anambra we used to know. What's going on?
I don't know. This is where I really want to start off with. I have been around Anambra, and I've also gone beyond Anambra to other parts of Nigeria, and luckily to have been to different parts of the world. And Anambra people are not happy. We are now being actually looked at as perhaps the worst state in the southern Nigeria, not just southeast, the entirety of the southern Nigeria, particularly when it comes to insecurity. And what is worrisome is the level of violence and criminality and impunity without any consequences.
Nobody is being brought to book.
None whatsoever. And I've had to visit some of the places. Recently I was in Nibo, and I met the SDK4 of Nibo, and you needed to hear the lamentations, not just from him, from the people around, because at the Iriji festival, 16 people victims of atrocious criminality, right there, almost a walking distance from the government house in Oka. And what is even sad, it's not just that these things happen, but it's also the reaction coming from the chief executive of the state.
The chief security officer?
Yes. When he visited the Nibo community, he found himself in the market buying okpa to some market women, and they were singing songs of praises, and that's the reaction. That's the reaction. And no meaningful conversation with the key stakeholders, with the Igwe himself, none. And some days after, when I landed in Anambra, I found him, and we were together at a function at function in Oka, and he came out just simply talking about some roads he's doing in some places. Not a single word on insecurity in Anambra State. So it's like we've given up hope that anything can happen to improve the situation now. And why I'm worried about this is, I mean, there's economic summit going on. You can't see any meaningful person attending except those who can actually buy their way through security, getting soldiers and DSS and police to guard them. Otherwise, who in his right sense? A lot of our diasporans are coming home for Christmas. They're all stopping in Abuja and Lagos to hold their celebrations. In fact, there's one that's hurting me. There's somebody who I hold so dearly. He hosted me in Philadelphia, and he just sent me a message yesterday that his mother-in-law is celebrating 70th birthday. Guess what? In Lagos on 23rd December.
Not in Anambra.
And I said to him, how do you expect me to leave Anambra to come to Lagos 23rd and go back on 24th? You better move this into Anambra. But how can I push?
But to even imagine, the other day we saw the governor, I think his daughter got married.
You know,
and the wedding was
the matter has been so rehashed that I don't want to put my
no, because it's important. Personally, I'm not from Anambra. I just felt like, chief executive officer, chief marketing officer of the state. As per tourism, that should have been a moment to attract people to your state. And he moved it out of Anambra State.
The challenge with this is that with insecurity, every other thing is affected.
I agree.
Nothing else works. When you find a place unsafe, are you going to go there and do business? Are you going to go and visit people and friends? Are you going to go for tourism? Are you going to even attend marriage ceremonies or whatever? So it's a big burden, and we can solve this.
Okay, let's bring that part of solving, because I know that you're committed to serving Anambra people. So let's bring your vision. How will you possibly approach the issue of insecurity if you were to be the chief security officer of the state?
You see, there's a mistake I don't want you to make, and that's a mistake a lot of people make. They go straight into asking, what will you do? What will you do? It's like me just opening this and reading out my manifesto. This could have been prepared by some consultant.
True.
And I can go and read this out and then I get you confused. No. Please, let's go back to the who. Who are you? How well do you mean from the Anambra? Are you actually coming to serve or to be served? Are you coming to lead in the true sense of leadership, which is to serve? Are you there for the agenda? Do you really have love for humanity? Ozigbo mother. Let's start from there. Because if you are not sure of the person, what are you doing with these words coming out of his mouth that you can't trust? No. Character, capacity, consistency.
Yeah.
These are the important things.
Yeah.
And so when I now start telling you things I would do, which we'll get to, I am happy to share with you all.
Because by every means, right, the aspect of character that you talked about is key, but it's important also to marry it with your vision for Anambra, which
yes, 100%, 100%. My point here is that if you deal with the wrong person, don't care anything about his vision. Start off making sure, and this is not just about me, I'm just talking about generally.
Generally, yeah.
Let's always go back to, in fact, what the Bible says. When a righteous, a godly, a good man is in power,
the people rejoice.
And when wicked people are in power, the people suffer. Proverbs 29:2. Start from there. It's this guy, not just because I can't claim to be righteous, by the way, but, and that takes me to another Bible quote I love so much. Romans 8:30. When he predestined, he calls. When he calls, he qualifies. When he qualifies, he justifies. When he justifies, he glorifies. When you get it right from, this is a good man, then we'll start talking about your vision. Because guess what? If you have a good person, and he doesn't even know everything to be done in any situation, he would listen. He will be able to get people around him. And that vision can get grandeur. Now let's talk about the vision. And it's not just about security or the roads. And mine comes from that mantra of Anambra.
Ciao. What is the philosophy behind it? The vision, the strategy behind it?
It is a nexus between the old and the new, the classic and the modern, the aged to the youthful, the historical to the creative. It's actually saying, this is who we are. In the Anambra, who are you? We are that special breed. Ozigbo in particular, not just in the Anambra, because we used to have just 2 states and then now.
All Igbo comes from Anambra.
So, who are we? We are that special breed. We call ourselves the Jews or the Hebrews, or in fact, Igbo is Hebrew. That's where it's from. And if you go back in time, just go back as far as you can remember. Is it the Bronze days? Or is it the Omodioka, the technological age? Is it, go back in time, you will see that we've been at the forefront of what is good, what is positive. Nnamdi Azikiwe inspired a lot of leaders in Africa, including Nelson Mandela.
True.
The Ojukwus of this world, particularly Louis Salus, he started the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
True. The Alex Ekweme.
Go back to the Chuna Achebes and now even Chimamanda. Go into the musical and folklore and talk about the Oliver de Coke and Asadebe and Co.
Go to the industry.
Go to the industry. Now that we're even the master there.
Giants there, yeah.
Now go even to the religious.
True.
The only state in West Africa has produced a saint.
True.
True. Today, with 2 cardinals in the Catholic Church, if you go to the other denominations, we are bound. We are truly the light.
The sunshine.
That light is so dim. How do we get it blossom? So, Anambra Chawapo is for a better, brighter, prosperous Anambra. Realizing who we are. So we can go back to those post-Civil War zeal from our youths. Let's bring out our creativity to bear. Let's be proud of who we are. And under proper leadership, let's unleash our potential. And it cuts across the women, the youths, the PWDs, physically challenged. If you build an inclusive society, provide safety, law and order, provide some infrastructure, particularly roads, power, bring in the private sector, the ingenuity and the wealth and resources of India Anambra to bear. My brother, you will be wondering, is this still... We are not going to be talking about Dubai, Taiwan.
Yeah, because I was going to go to the Dubai thing, because that was what the professor
priority. That's a totally jaundiced
but by the way, is there a journey now towards actualizing that Dubai philosophy?
I'm begging for our bar ambassador, but you're talking about Dubai, Taiwan. Let's get serious.
No, if there are plans or steps he has taken beyond your own vision now, are there visible things? If, for instance, you were to come on board, that you could leverage on? Are there things that you can identify, that he has done here and there to possibly actualize the Dubai thing that he talked about?
I wish there is. What we have is lawlessness. Because the beginning of building a modern society is rule of law. Just this morning, I was reading about a gentleman, former president of Onitsha Chamber of Commerce, how these IGR, these people searching for revenue, under the leadership of Solodo. With all the resources, I announced that over 480 billion under his watch.
480 billion?
Billion naira, both from the IGR, the Federal FAC, and the money coming from the oil revenue. All of this, including the local government funds under his care. In 30 months, 480 billion plus. Quote me, these are from MBS. There's no addition to it. There may be addition to it, no subtraction to it. What am I saying to you? With all this, they're still aggressively beating up people, knocking heads. This guy I'm talking about, they got to his house early in the morning, arrested the guy, wanted to pull him into the car. The guy resisted. If you see how they hurt him, that his spinal cord is 65% broken, And it's moved from up to 3 hospitals now. So they're writing to complain. It's the letter that went viral that I saw. This is the Anambra of today. So I've asked a lot of people, who in Anambra is happy with Anambra? Just who as a group, as an institution? I've asked the church, I've asked the Igwes, I've asked the town unions, I've asked the civil servants, I've even asked his commissioners. Haven't found one.
Even his commissioners?
His own commissioners. And I'm not joking. See, that's why, please, always go back to Onyebuonya. Who is this person?
The character.
And I'm not here to talk down on anybody. But that's the assessment we must always do. And the summary is this. Our current governor basically has failed in the Anambra.
I'll take a break and come back and we'll engage further. This is Nigeria Right Now with Dixon Irebo. Today my guest is Mr. Valentine Ozigbo. He's, well, really not vision for Anambra State. But I am a bit worried, the things I've heard. We'll be right back.
Nigeria Right Now. Do you know why I stay very late at times in the office? So I can watch Nigeria Right Now. Very incisive, very detailed, and very informative. And most times, very direct. So my name is Ikenga Imo Ugochinyere, member of the House of Representatives, defender of the defenseless, fighter for justice, equity, and fairness, and a great son of rule of law. So make sure you watch Nigeria Right Now to get the real details without any adulteration. Nigeria Right Now with Dixon Irebo. Bet you like it.
Welcome right back. This is still Nigeria Right Now with Dixon Irebo. Of course, what we do here on the show is to engage on those topical angles that will better the lives of the Nigerian people. Today we zeroed in on Anambra State, and of course our guest is Mr. Valentine Ozigbo. I am down because some of the stories you have read out, particularly that part of attempting to brutalize people in the name of generating resources for the state and all of that. Do we have to toe that line? Do we have to brutalize the same people that we are setting out to lead?
To be honest, you know, what I always try to do is to look at things from the positive. What is amazing to me is the fact that Anambra people are aware.
They are aware.
They're fully aware. You know, the issue is that if you're impacted one way or another, if you're not going through some bad roads that are avoidable, you're not being challenged by erosion issues, you're not being challenged by power issues. So when you face all these challenges, the next thing your mind is going to go to is, what next? I think that's where the Anambra is now. And the excitement that I see about my candidacy has been overwhelming to me. In fact, there are a lot of online polls that have come out that put us in the 90 percentiles that says really that they have seen a better alternative. This is even before campaign starts.
Before you start marketing Anambra Chawapo, I also observed in the media some activities with the Obedient Group. They were boldly announcing you as their choice. How is it like internally? Even let's come to your party, because before you go to the contest itself, you would have to secure your party's ticket. How is LP doing? And how sure
I'll touch on this. I'll touch on the LP, I'll touch on the obedience. Yeah. But the point here is that Anambra people are optimistic about 2025 because they see a pathway to making an effective change that brings a new dawn, so that the true meaning of Anambra Chawapo can begin to reflect. And it's summarized in Matthew 5:16. See, I quote a lot of Bibles. This says, "Let your light so shine, so that people can see your good deeds and glorify your Father who is in heaven." It is now time when the light of Anambra will shine and be truly the light of the nation, because that's where the true transformation begins. Not just in Anambra, in the entirety of Southeast, and this will rub up positively on the rest of Nigeria. Let's talk about the Labour Party issues.
Yeah.
I am a chieftain of Labour Party, and I'm proud of being so. We have our challenges. Many other parties, all the parties in Nigeria, all have challenges.
All of them.
What I usually tell people is that our own is what I call venial sin, the sin you can forgive. The other sins of the other parties are mortal sin that has no forgiveness. So, but I would love to be in a party where I'm more proud and not talking about sin, but about the positives. So I'm also proud about everything happening in Labour Party, both at the national, at the state level. But you can divulge, and what Nigerians are going through and the transactional nature of human beings for what happens in politics. Because interests will always conflict.
True.
So we do have issue as to the authenticity of our leadership. Is it the Abure? Is it the Nenadi Usman, Senator Usman?
Which one do you identify with? Or which one would you rather identify with?
Yeah, that's a matter of fact. It's a matter of fact. It's not about personality.
Yes.
It's about the process.
Yes.
The beginning of this is that there was a convention in Newi. That convention was not actually properly constituted. A lot of people complain about it because we were expecting that we start at the ward level, move to the local government, move to the state, then national. But we did the other way around. And the outcome has been faulted by INEC. And it's on that basis that said that the tenure for Bure team is expired. And if that be the case, we were left with no other option than to converge and decide on a caretaker.
Because the show must go on.
Caretaker was instituted, and properly so, in my opinion. And because almost everybody, from Peter Obi himself to Alex Oti to all the senators, House of Reps, House of Assembly, came together and anointed Senator Nenadi Usman. So that ought to be the authentic. But Labour Party today is encumbered. So we're hopeful that in no distant time, all these issues will be rested. So that way, we will forge on and move on with Labour Party. But guess what? If for whatever reason the encumbrance persists, clearly there's a key, what I call the like minds will still come together. We can take in a particular direction because we're not going to allow party issue.
Your destiny is not tied to the name of the political
It's
party.
impossible. It's not just about my interest, it's Anambra's interest. And that's what is fortunate. And that brings me to the obedience.
Yes.
And that's
Which has nothing to do with political party anyway.
In fact, obedience says that their candidate for 2025 is Ozigbo, irrespective of any party he goes into. That's the beauty of that endorsement. And it's the most powerful members of obedience coming together. It has never happened. Beyond the support they gave to Mr. Peter Obi himself, no other obedient has enjoyed this level of momentum, none. In all the states we run election.
But are you surprised? You were all over the place with PO during the 2023 campaign. So obedience are very observant. I am obedient, unapologetically so. This is my show, all right, but I'm obedient. And no one can take it away from you. You were everywhere. Are we going to doubt what you are bringing to the table? Let's get more about the vision behind that endorsement and all of it.
So the whole idea here is, look at what Alex Oti is doing in Abia. It's been a shining example. It just gives you an example. And when you have the right person, a square peg in a square hole, everything fits. If you go to Abia and see within a year the transformation that's happened across board, whether on the security part, infrastructure part, education part, just even achieving the law and order, civility, where people move around and contract can be respected. In fact, I dare say that if not for the Nigeria's problem that's weighing down, you would have seen where the state is headed to.
So it's the same template you're coming along with?
Better template, by the way. I know Alex Oti won't like this, but Anambra is Anambra.
Yeah.
We're the headship. When we get our things right, Abia will come back to copy. And I'm not joking. He's not bluffing, he's not boasting. The key to changing the narrative is actually for government to do the needful, create a competitive environment, a law and order environment, then let the private sector come to unleash their capital, their potential. And who else can boast of what Anambra can boast of? Who else?
It's our state. Like I've already established here that all Igbo come from Anambra state. So you can't claim ownership of Anambra. Let me get your view. How will you describe yourself within the political arena? How will you see yourself? If someone were to say, oh, we knew you in the business, private sector, but now you're in politics. How will you describe yourself in politics?
It's an interesting question. I wish you could point your camera at somebody else to describe me.
I'd like to hear from you.
Let me say, I want to be, and I believe I am, a purposeful politician as against a transactional politician. I don't follow the bandwagon. I don't do things for selfish gain. I do things for enlightened self-interest. My interests will be protected, but never at the detriment of common good. So, I want to be that politician that will build a legacy not of 2 years, not of 10 years, of 100 years and more. When I'm long gone, when you talk about the Azikiwes, the Ojukwus, I want you to mention the Sambapwes, the Michael Okparas, you mentioned Valentine Ozigbo.
That's correct.
That's my target.
That's
and to achieve this, I have to place God first.
And the people.
In everything that I do, going forward. God, because I want to see Anambra as a tool to evangelize. The way we will serve God with Anambra, God will be proud, Anambra people will be proud.
And the Nigerian people will be proud. How will you see the governance of Nigeria as of today, as we round up? If the president of Nigeria were watching the show now and you were to speak for your people, how will you address the president?
I'll tell Mr. President that I am disappointed. I'll tell President Tinubu that I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because we haven't even gone back to the beginning. We are dealing with symptoms, and you can't get any cure from the symptoms. Go to the root cause. The root cause is law and order. That's the intrinsic thing that we haven't touched. When things happen, there should be consequence. There's no anything that has happened in judiciary. Is there any consequence? Is there any?
There's none.
In INEC, is there any consequence?
There's none.
In security, is there any consequence? If you hear that 200 soldiers are murdered in a barrack, is anybody punished for it?
No.
What are you talking about? If you can start from there, forget all this about foreign exchanges and that. These are symptoms. Go back to the root cause. There's no consequence. In Nigeria, you can get away with murder, and that sucks. That's annoying. Go back to the beginning.
Thank you, Solid. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Is Nigeria a huge crime scene? By this conversation, even as we concluded, that would be a question I pose to you, the viewer. Is this place a huge crime scene? Because if governance is not about the people, then what is governance? If the people don't come first at all times, what then are we going to be saying to the leaders? Leadership in our country doesn't seem to be what it ought to be. As we will always say on the show, that we may build a nation where no man is oppressed. I see you next week on the same show, Nigeria Right Now.